Now, this really came out of nowhere, and I'm gonna just be honest. I wasn't following the story. Even when it came up a couple days ago, I ignored it. I didn't think much because we know last month Josh Norman and the Panthers were unable to come to a long-term deal, and they franchise tagged him. So I thought that was the end of that. I'm back to the NBA, NHL stuff that matters. Then come to find out today, well, a couple days ago, that the Panthers would allow him to explore the free agent market by rescinding his franchise tag. And here we are today. Josh Norman just signed a 5-year, $75 million deal with the Washington Racial Slurs with $50 million in guaranteed money. Now, we know the Panthers were in the Super Bowl last year, but 5 years, 50 guaranteed, and 75 possibly? Who's going to turn that down? You? I'm not. Welcome back to the Best Damn Sports Blog. Back again, this time to talk NFL, and it's been a minute since I talked NFL, and this NFL news lightweight came out of nowhere, and it's still kind of irrelevant, but since it's a shocker, I'll touch on it. And the news being, Josh Norman, formerly of the Carolina Panthers, has signed a 5-year, $75 million deal with the Washington Racial Slurs. And I'm as shocked as anyone else that the Panthers let him go, but it's obvious they didn't want to pay him the money. They feel cornerback is a replaceable position. And I can agree with that sentiment to some extent, especially when you take into account Carolina's defensive scheme. Relative to other teams, they blitz a lot. So that means they play a lot of zone coverage as well. And don't forget, Brandon Browner and Byron Maxwell both went for the money, left Seattle, played in a different defensive scheme where they had a whole lot more man-to-man coverage, and they got exposed. Both of them were pretty awful compared to their Seattle days, especially Maxwell. He is nowhere near as good as he used to be in Seattle. I would call him average at best. When you look at it from Carolina's point of view, Josh Norman, he's asking for top dollar at a position that they don't value and that isn't valued in general in the NFL. Later this month, the draft is coming up, and they can replace him in their eyes probably with another cornerback drafted in the 5th round, just as Josh Norman was. He wasn't a highly touted player, and Carolina's thinking is they can go find another one at a much cheaper rate. And see, that's the cutthroat business and nature of sports. I just don't understand why fans hold loyalty against players, but when it comes to owners, they don't have to show loyalty. If a player's asking for too much, then they'll side with the owner. I don't get that. I'm always a players first. I look at people who are owners first. They remind me of plantation owners. So I'll just put that out there. You all have similar views, but I'm pro player through and through. So as bad of a situation Washington is probably compared to the Carolina Panthers, I commend Josh Norman for getting his money. This is a guy who made less than $3 million in total in his 4-year NFL career. This is his big payday. In the NFL, your second contract is going to be your biggest one if you're any good, and you usually won't see that kind of money again. It's your second contract that's the biggest one, and I feel him for wanting to capitalize. He's 28 years old, hitting his prime. In NFL, he might be in his prime just because players retire early relative to basketball, NBA, NHL. Those players can play to their late 30s, NHL even into their 40s. Y'all see what Yamir Yager's doing? But anyways, this isn't necessarily a poor fit for Josh Norman. By the percentages, Washington blitzes at a high rate as well. So he won't be per se exposed as Byron Maxwell, as Brandon Browner were being thrown into more man-to-man coverages. And also, as fans, look at the bright side. We get to see Odell Beckham Jr. versus Josh Norman twice a year now. in the racial slurs Giants rivalry. So it all works out for everyone. We get to see those two idiots, Beckham and Norman, go at it twice a year. Norman's happy. And here this number. His $15 million signing bonus alone eclipses the $14 million franchise tag. He'll make $20 million in total in 2016. He's set for next season. If I was him, I'd be like, fuck the Panthers too. Yeah, we went to the Super Bowl, so what? Give me that 20 M's. Rush it.